All right. Welcome to the Krueger Show, everybody. Larry Krueger, Ryan Smith, Dan Coccimiglio after 49er football. And what can you say? It was just an ugly day for the 49ers for sure. To me, I know everybody's going to jump up and down about Trey Lance. Trey Lance was 13 of 28, 164 yards. He had the one interception. And the 49ers turned it over. And obviously Trey completed under 50% of his passes in the second half of this game. But my takeaway wasn't necessarily that Trey Lance lost them the game. I mean, it was a monsoon. They fell behind. I haven't rewatched the game again, but the 49ers defense, for only allowing 19 points, the defense was bad. I mean, two times they had busted plays that both went for touchdowns. That burned them. And then how many times they gave the Bears 5 first downs with defensive penalties. So, I mean, that right there, you give a team 5 first downs and two touchdowns on busted plays, your defense hurts you.
How much of that do you think has anything to do with guys just not getting any reps in the preseason?
Nothing to do with that. I mean, guys just have to be more disciplined. I mean, Dre Greenlaw's got to be more disciplined. Azeez Al-Shaair's got to be more disciplined. When a quarterback slides and gives himself up, you can't hit him in the head. You can't hit him in the shoulders.
I thought the one on Greenlaw was a little bogus. I mean,
but that's the way it's called, and that's the way it's been called. So make the adjustment.
It's just especially week one when the emphasis is, all the emphasis is put out. And you know what? Before we dive right into the Niners, because we're on a completely different channel. This is the Gridiron Football channel. We're super excited to be working with those guys. And you know what? They were cool enough that we had a little issue with our YouTube channel. It's probably going to be down for a week, unfortunately. But they said, why don't you guys go pop on here and, try and bring over some of our normal guys. I see Carlo P up here. I see Anonymous. I see our guy Romo. So just, I'm not quite sure if we're going to be popping on this multiple times this week, but just for today, we're going to do about, maybe a little less than an hour because they have something coming up, right after that. But yeah, so with that said, into the Niners, personally, I'm not going to put everything on Lance.
It wasn't all on him. I mean, it was a monsoon. Did he have some bad throws? Yeah, he had some bad throws. But I mean, overall, what I look at is 2 turnovers, penalties for days, 11 penalties. That's a record number of penalties. I mean, that's a lot of penalties. And then, once it was the second half of this game, I mean, once the field did not drain at all. I mean, it was just a total quagmire in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, you can just throw out the fourth quarter.
Yeah, this is what one of the things I was upset, and I tweeted a little bit about it. I thought Kyle's play calling was too conservative when they had by the juggler in the first half. They played very conservative, a lot of jet sweeps, lots of runs. The couple times that Trey rolled out, he got big plays, big passes down the field. Why not go to that more often? Why not go to some rollouts where he has the option of throwing underneath or throwing deep or running, giving him a triple option? It was just too much running, I thought. And Trey, best plays are when he was able to roll out of the pocket.
Yeah, but I think a lot of those were set up by the run game. And this is just what I'll say as far as the Trey thing goes. Look, I'm not gonna rip Trey for this, but let's all be honest. If Jimmy G played this exact game, the nonstop discourse would be how crappy Jimmy G played and how we need a new quarterback and about how we can't win like this. I mean, for me, I mean, I know we can say we can throw out the fourth quarter. I mean, the Bears scored 12 points in the fourth quarter. We held them to 17 passing yards. I'm not going to say we, although I am a fan. The Niners held them to 17 pass yards in the first half. They were only up by a touchdown. That's unacceptable. That is unacceptable. They let them hang in the game, and because of that, they felt they had life. And then they had a few things go their way, and the momentum just started pouring. And you know what? Can't help but think, if the whole thing could have been calmed down if Trey led them down, for a touchdown and answered something, but there was no answers. It's I mean, this is the worst team they're probably going to play all year. So conditions or not, it's unacceptable.
Well, but unacceptable. Justin Fields was 8 of 17 for 121 yards and a pick. Was he unacceptable today?
No, well, he had 2 touchdowns and he only had 17 passing yards in the first half. I mean, Trey
was he unacceptable? 8 of 17, so that's sub 50%.
He was acceptable. He had way less talent around him. He threw for how many touchdowns, and he made plays.
But I mean, those were busted plays. By the way, was it an awesome play to find Dante Pettis, or was it a busted play by the Niner defense? I look at it as a busted play by the Niner defense.
Yeah, but would you say? We all agreed the Niners have this is the best defense they've had in the Shanahan era. I mean,
so what? It was a busted play. I mean, it was a busted play that went for a 50-yard touchdown. I don't give that to Justin Fields. I put that on the Niner defense.
Okay, but then why didn't Trey respond? I mean, Trey, there was busted plays. I mean, that one to I don't remember which tight end it was, but it was a wide open touchdown. Trey just lofted it over and missed him. I mean, there was
he clearly missed some throws today, but I mean, to me, the bigger story is not that a young quarterback in a monsoon on the road in his third NFL start looked inconsistent. It was that the 49ers defense just made huge errors all day. I mean, they lost equanimity of St. Brown. Well, all day. I mean, Equanimous St. Brown was lost for a touchdown. Pettis was lost for a touchdown. I mean, one happened in the first half, one happened in the second half. There you go. That's all day. They
didn't score a touchdown in the first half, Larry. It was 7-0. They had 19 passing yards in the first half.
Okay, but I mean, so both of the Bears only scored 2 touchdowns, right? Or 3? What did they get?
They scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. So they scored 2 touchdowns, and they had 2 huge, busted plays. I mean, that's on the defense. It was an ugly day at Soldier Field, and the defense, folded. I mean, and nobody told Greenway or Greenlaw and Aziz Al-Shair to forget how to play defense. I mean, you can't hit the quarterback when he slides. You just can't. How many times did the 49ers have penalties that extended drives? To me, that's the thing. I mean, you're going to point to the quarterback. I expected the quarterback to be raw.
But remember we made predictions. We had all predicted the Niners would be scoring 30 points. I mean, we can blame the defense. They've only allowed.
I had him at 22, 23.
I said take the under. I said take the under. I said go with the under. I expect the 49ers to struggle offensively, and I expect the Bears to struggle offensively as well. Then you mix in the conditions. I mean, the entire fourth quarter was just, it was a total quagmire.
What about the first 3 quarters is what I would say. It's like, I mean, we got to score more. I mean, that Bears defense is not good. We scored 1 touchdown.
Okay, first of all, you didn't score any touchdowns.
Okay. Trey Lance scored 1 touchdown.
I'm just saying he's a young quarterback in his third start. I wasn't expecting greatness. I was expecting a run heavy scheme. And then they lost. I mean, think about it. They lost their running back who went for 6.8 a carry. And they brought in a guy who ran for 2.4 a carry.
Okay,
so
Mitchell.
That hurt.
Are you okay? So then, if they go, are you just expecting the Niners to not put up any points all year because they have a rookie quarterback? This is the best matchup he's going to have probably all year, outside of the conditions in the fourth quarter.
Well, I mean, there were reasons that they didn't score in the first half, but I wouldn't put it all on Trey Lance.
I'm not putting it all on Trey, but
it sounds like you are actually. You're putting it on Trey Lance. You're basically saying
that
Trey Lance is not the
Debo, which
is
was
not the Trey Lance should have done this. Trey Lance should have done that.
You're putting it all on the defense. You're
The
giving
defense
Trey
had 2 busted plays.
Okay,
They only scored 19 points.
Yeah, that's not that many.
Yeah, but two busted plays led them to all of their points.
Yes, so why can't their offense score over 19 points? I mean,
or 10, you mean?
Yeah, I'm saying like
the Niners offense.
Niners scored 10 points.
Well, you also had that
it wasn't a good performance, but I just said you lost your number. I mean, Debo fumbled in the red zone. You lost your number one running back at halftime. You have a quarterback making his 3rd NFL start in the rain on the road, and credit the Bears. I mean, the Bears made some plays. Roquan Smith made some plays. I'll say this: the other thing, the 49er D line was supposed to dominate. They didn't dominate. They had 2 sacks and 3 hits on the quarterback. So where was the domination against this Bears line? I mean, you want to talk about the worst they're going to play all year. The Niner defense isn't going to play a worse offensive line than what they faced today, and they barely had any pressure at all on Justin Fields in the second half of this game.
Yeah, and I bet if you go look back at the tape and look at the defense, what they were doing is that they were getting in on the rush, and Fields was evading it, going out to the outside. And it looked like to me that the linebackers were over pursuing all day, and that's what happened on the touchdown pass to Pettis. Looks like Greenlaw just took off and running over across the field, left Pettis in that zone, and just pursued Fields instead of just staying home. The linebackers, time after time, they were just going full speed, and Fields was doing, whether it be a naked bootleg, and he would just be going, to the right. Everybody else was going to the left, or vice versa. That's what looked like the problem today, because the rush was getting in, but he was eluding it, and then he had all this room because nobody was there.
I mean, Trey Lance is responsible for some bad throws and 1 pick, but he didn't ask Debo Samuel to fumble in the red zone. He didn't, I mean, you're saying that a super young quarterback couldn't overcome 12 penalties in a driving rainstorm on the road.
I mean, okay. You're all saying right. that like, I mean, come on, I think we're
come
making
on what?
The defense. Okay, let me read the Bears possessions in the first half. Punt, interception, punt. Now we're into the second quarter. Punt. The defense let them down.
How could the defense not let them down? First of all, the Bears had 5 penalties that were direct results of the 49er defense, or 5 first downs. 5 first downs that the Niners handed them. Here you go. First down, 5, and 2 busted plays. 1 led to a touchdown. The other, or both led to touchdowns. 1 actually resulted in a touchdown. None of those are Trey Lance. So, I mean, you can sit here and blame Trey Lance all you want, but I mean, it's all about expectations. I didn't expect Trey Lance to play great. I expected Trey Lance to play like a guy in his 3rd start and be very up and down and inconsistent. Did he have some highlights? Yeah. Did he have some low points? Yeah. But it wasn't like Trey Lance had 4 picks. Trey Lance had 1 interception. He was running for his life. I mean, I don't know what you were expecting, but I wasn't expecting. I was expecting him to struggle because because he's a young player.
I'm the guy that said,
look at Alex Smith when Alex Smith was a rookie. Alex Smith struggled mightily. Well, I mean, why is that? Because rookie quarterbacks struggle in the NFL for the most part.
I just don't understand. It's like, so do you not think they're a Super Bowl contender?
No, do I not think they're a Super Bowl contender?
Yeah,
I think they're. I mean, just because Trey Lance was bad today on the road in Chicago doesn't mean that Trey Lance is going to be playing exactly this way the rest of the year. So, yeah, I consider them a Super Bowl contender, but they have a question mark at quarterback. He's an unproven prospect.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and he's unproven. But don't act surprised that an unproven player played like an unproven player.
I'm absolutely not surprised.
What is more surprising is that this defense that everybody was talking about as an all-world defense had 2 busted plays that basically allowed the Bears to move the ball down the field, and they allowed Fields to run 11 times, and burn them for some yardage. I mean, I think that's a big part of it.
Here's where I think the 49ers,
Dante Pettis is not a good receiver, but Greenlaw didn't have to shoot all the way across the field and abandon his zone. He abandoned his zone, and Pettis was wide open. So that's not on Trey Lance.
They lost the game today with those few big plays, because if you look at the team stats, the 49ers total yards 331 to 204, total plays 67 to 56, passing 155 yards to 105 yards, rushing 176 to 99, rushing attempts were the same, 37, yards per rush 4.8 for the 49ers, 2.7 for the Bears. The penalties, they got killed 12 for 99. The Bears only had 3 penalties for 24. So it was those few defensive breakdowns and the penalties and the turnovers.
And the conservative play calls of Shanahan. That's the other one, too. I mean, Shanahan in the first half of this game, Shanahan was way too conservative. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, Larry, I don't understand. I'm starting to wonder, because the play calling with Kyle has been conservative. It cost him the Super Bowl. It cost him the NFC Championship game last year.
You can't say on one hand your expectations were low for Lance. It's a rookie in his first start in these conditions, and then blame Kyle for not having a more aggressive play calling. Those two things don't add up.
Well, yeah, they do, because Trey Lance was going to be inconsistent, because Trey Lance is basically the equivalent of an infant as an NFL quarterback. He came into the league as the least experienced quarterback taken in the first round in the last 40 years. We just had a general manager on with us this week who said that he would never have drafted him simply because there wasn't enough there. So it was a huge, colossal swing by Shanahan and Lynch to go with Lance. And it was calling their bluff as to, can you develop a quarterback? And we're going to find out. But I thought I thought Lance looked pretty good throwing the football in the first half at times. He made a couple of really, really nice throws. I thought Shanahan, at inopportune moments, kind of took the ball out of his hands. So I do think that Lance is raw, and I do think that Lance is going to be better, but I also felt like there was opportunities in the first half of this game. In the way this weather day went, you wanted to do all of your throwing early.
Yes, early.
And all of your running late. And the 49ers did all of their running early and had to do all of their throwing late. And guess what happened? It didn't work out.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing that I say, like, going back to the unacceptable thing, and I guess we can blame Kyle for this, but it's just like, this is the starting field position that the Niners had in the first half.
They had good field position.
43, then they started on the Chicago 48, then they started on their own 36, then they started on the Chicago 48, then they started on their own 24, and then that's the end of the half.
What was the down? I can't remember the down on the 44-yard play to Ayuk, and then there was another big play that was 20-plus. What downs were those on? Because I don't think they were on third down, and that's where I think the Niners, where Kyle's play calling got too conservative, because he kept putting Trey in 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 4. And Trey was able to get a few first downs on his own, which was pretty impressive. The first half, I thought Trey Lance played I would have given him like a B- for the first half. I thought he played a pretty good first half. I think he was like 6 of 9 or something like that.
6 of 10 in the first half. So 60% in the first half, 40% in the second half.
Yeah, when they were behind also and having to – and putting him in throwing positions, and Chicago was putting a lot of pressure. I think the offensive line didn't hold up very well today. They put Trey in. He didn't have a clean pocket almost.
I just am pushing back on this whole ridiculous notion, because people only study the quarterback and the head coach, that the reason that 49ers lost today was Trey Lance. It's not. They got, the Niners outgained the Bears 330 to 206. They were absolutely buried by 12 penalties and 2 turnovers, including the Debo one in the red zone, which was a total killer. I mean, they would have scored points in that situation, but Debo made sure that it didn't happen. They also had 2 key third down stops that both were negated by penalties, which both led to touchdowns. So was Trey Lance Yeah, he was kind of He wasn't great by any stretch, but he's not why they lost this football game. I absolutely would push back on anybody who says, "Oh yeah, they lost because of Lance." No, they didn't. They didn't lose because of Lance. They lost because of the penalties. They lost because of the blown plays. They lost because they turned the ball over in the red zone. They lost because they had no pass rush on Fields in the second half. They did a poor job of tackling Khalil Herbert in the second half. And that's really it. I mean, they did a good job in the first half. If you want to look at some of the Niner defense allowed 19 net yards passing in the first half. Yeah. That's incredible. That's great. They held Fields to a passer rating of 2.8 in the first half. That's a great number. But in the second half, he got loose. In the second half, they didn't have any rush on him. So, yeah, Bosa got a sack for a 6-yard loss, but he only had 1 sack on the day against a rookie left tackle.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know. I mean, I don't know where this conference. I'm just saying that it's fair to put blame on Trey Lance. The defense let up in the second half. I don't understand why both things can't be true. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and do what every other person's gonna do and sit there and just play Trey Lance. This is Trey Lance. Just because you like to filibuster on the quarterback, I'm not going down that road. It was a rookie making his first start on the road in a monsoon, and his team committed 12 penalties. Now, was he responsible for the 12 penalties? Is he responsible for the busted coverages? Is he responsible for extending drives? No, that's the team around him. Should Kyle Shanahan have called a little bit of a different game? Maybe. But ultimately, I mean, Trey made some decent throws. He also missed a few throws. But is that shocking?
They had the momentum going, and that fumble. Trey came out playing really good. Listen to this first drive. From their 43-yard line. 7-yard Ayuk left in jet sweep for 7 yards. Next, false start, Mitchell. So now you got 2nd and 3 at the 50. Lance, short pass to Samuel, pushed out of bounds 49 for 6 yards. 3rd and 2, Lance, right guard to 47 for 2 yards. 1st and 10, Lance, deep pass to Ayuk, pushed out of bounds at the 16, 31 yards. See, that wasn't what I'm saying. First down. They let him throw on first down. Whenever they threw on early in the downs, he was hitting guys. And then the next
I don't think
play,
that's necessarily true.
Next play, Samuel left in to Chicago, 12 to the 12 for 4 yards fumbles. So that opening drive, he was doing well.
I completely agree, but also you have to remember, like, that's when the plays are scripted. They've been working on that all week in practice. Once the script was over, and you do see that with Jimmy too. It's like once the script's over, that's when things start getting hairy.
But if you look at the
it's easy to blame Trey because Trey didn't play particularly well and he had the 1 pick. But look at when Trey was asked to throw the ball. Look at the way Fields was allowed to play. Fields didn't play well, but Fields got the win. Why? Well, because Fields was allowed to hand the ball off, it through most of the monsoon. And that was a different situation where Lance threw, I would say, the majority of his passes. At halftime, Lance was, I'll give you the number, 6 of 10. So he threw 10 passes in the first half. I thought it was a very conservative game plan in the first half of this game. In the first half consisted of 18 runs and 10 passes. Now, I wanted a more run heavy game plan, but 18 to 10 at the first half, I think that was a little too run heavy, especially against this team. But that to me, that's, I just don't think that. What's the surprise here? The surprise was that the 49er defense, that, going up against a 49er team that has a dominant defensive line, a game that wasn't out of hand, and yet they only had 2 sacks and they only had 3 hits on the quarterback all day.
I thought
and they only had. They were going up against one of the worst lines they're going to face. Yeah. Where's the blame for Bosa? Where's the blame for Ebukam? Where's the blame for Armstead? Where's the blame for Kinlaw? Where's the blame for the 49er defense that has so many stars and all this money? Instead, we're going to blame a rookie quarterback for looking like a rookie when he had to really put the team on his back and try to lead him from behind in the second half in a maybe one of the worst conditioned fields we've seen. So I don't know. To me, it's very hard to evaluate Lance, because when he had to throw, the conditions were so bad that it just distorted everything. And in the first half, they were very hesitant to let him throw, and yet he made a couple nice plays in the first half.
Yeah, I thought one of his worst plays in the first half. I mean, the one pass he missed, was it Croft that was open down left? That was a tough throw because he had to loft it to get a perfect loft, and he kind of didn't get enough on it, and he loft on it, and he overthrew him. But the one play where it was 3rd and 3, and he kind of moved up in the pocket, and he had Jennings, and it was just a short little pass, and he threw it behind him, and Jennings was wide open, and he threw it behind him a little bit on the run. And I thought, that's the plays that you got to make to keep drives moving, because that was 3rd and 3. And they were on their own 43. That would have put them, first down near midfield. And they were, and then, the next drive, they got the touchdown, though. That's the next drive. They came in and they started at their own 48, and he was able to drive. But that was the deep left pass to McLeod for 20 yards. That was a nice pass. That was a really nice pass, hitting McLeod on the move. Nice bullet. But I just thought there should have been a little bit more, like you, Larry, said, 18 runs to 10 passes. I would have liked to seen 2 or 3 more passes in there, because I think Trey was very effective when he wasn't having to throw on 3rd down. I like moving them out of the pocket with some more play fake, some play action on 1st down, because I know the run, will set up the pass, but they were constantly, seemed like, in 3rd and short, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. And, it's when you're in that 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, you could run or pass, and it just didn't seem like any innovation. I was watching the Chiefs, because I've got the Arizona Chiefs game today. The Kansas City offense is just so it's a well-oiled machine. And I know they've been playing together long. Well, they got some new receivers, but there's still every stinking play, there's a wide open back or a receiver or Kelsey. And I don't understand why the Niners can't do that. I know Lance is not Patrick Mahomes, but they have a similar skill set. And I'm saying that if you run more of that type of offense with Lance, you're going to put him in a better position to succeed with more guys moving in the pattern and short passes, and that'll lead to some of the longer passes. I just don't understand it. How does Kansas City always dial up plays where they have, 10 plays, 12 plays in the first half, guys are wide open?
Yeah, Andy Reid's great. I don't know. I also, the Lance interception, it's, I like that he's saw what he's trying to do there. I mean, I like that he's taking chances, but I mean, that was brutal also. I mean, it set the Bears up on the 9 or 21 in a game like this. I mean, that just can't happen.
Right, but I mean, where 12 penalties for 89 for 100 yards, and you give up 2 just absolutely wide open touchdowns. That's going to even the playing field, and it did. First of all, they lost Equinemius St. Brown, they lost Pettis, and those are busted plays. I mean, those and they resulted in points.
Yeah.
So, and then you also, the Bears are tough to beat at home. They don't get, I don't know. They always seem like they get the benefit of the flags. Not only did the Niners make 11 penalties, I think the Bears had like 2, I think all day. Yeah. I think maybe none in the second half.
Well, how about another play that the Niners
that was a big factor.
They got the penalty on the offensive pass interference, which was a bogus play.
Yeah, that was trash.
That was a stupid play by Ayuk. What are you doing? You don't need, if you need to. It's like he decided when he started running his route, I'm going to push off this guy, and then he could barely even reach him, and he still tried to push off. Now it was ticky tack, but you know what? The motion was clear for everybody to see. If the defender had been where Ayuk thought he was going to be, it would have been a much more decisive or important or impactful push off. He tried to push off hard, except he just barely got it done. So it's like, why do you do it? Why are you pushing off in an aggressive motion when the result of it is that you just touch him with your fingertips, but everybody saw you? It's like throwing a punch but missing. You still threw a punch. You're still going to be ejected. You might as well get your money's worth. I thought that was a ridiculous penalty by Ayuk.
Yeah, it was. And so then the question becomes, the thing I guess I worry about a little bit is, well, I know everyone is going to come in so locked into this Seattle game, but the Seattle game kind of becomes you don't want to say it early, but it kind of becomes a must-win game. They have to win this game.
Well, I don't know about that. Everybody in the division is probably going to wind up losing this weekend.
Yeah.
It's just more
the Rams lost, Niners lost, Cardinals are going to lose. And I would imagine Russell's going to beat Seattle in Seattle. So the season starts next week for the 49ers as far as the division's concerned. And they better answer. But I'll tell you, today, the one thing, go back and look at these mistakes. Greenlaw with a face mask on third down. Tayshaun Gibson dropped an interception. It's hilarious that he dropped it, too, because he has 27 career picks, and the reason he's there is because Tart drops picks. So now Gibson's in there, and he drops a pick. Then you got Charvarius Ward holding on a third down. That extended a drive. You had Al-Shaair with an unnecessary roughness that was just absolutely idiotic. Come on. Is this your first NFL game? You're going to get called for that every single time. And then the Kinlaw defensive hold on a third down, that also burned them. So, they just got burned by busted plays, penalties, bad judgment, and a young quarterback who missed some throws. But it wasn't like he was just atrocious all day and he was the reason that they lost. No. And, he didn't make Debo fumble. The bottom line in the NFL, it's not like college. You don't get 15 possessions. You might get 8 in meaningful time. And so if you blow 2 or 3 and you turn it over a couple times, there you go. You can lose to anybody.
Possession that we're talking about with the earlier with the penalty on Ayuk. They took over with 8:43 to go in the second quarter, up 7-0. And this is what was bothering me, was watching this conservative play. 1st and 10, Wilson, right guard for 5 yards.
Wilson looked horrible, by the way.
Next play, 2nd and 5, Samuel right in for 2 yards. 3rd and 3, that's the pass to Ayuk that was offensive interference. Then it puts him in 3rd and 13, and that was the play Trey got 14 yards on the first down. That was pretty sick, yeah. And then then we go back, 1st and 10, Jeff Wilson, right tackle for 1 yard. 2nd and 9, short pass to Samuel, incomplete. 3rd and 9, short right to Jeff Williams for 6 yards. Where's all these little short passes? And then it was punt. Okay. And then that's pretty much how, and that was it. End of the half, 7-0. Chicago got the ball back. They held them. But it was just this constant, to me, it was these handoffs. I'd rather see, instead of a lot of handoffs, if you're going to do a lot of handoffs, that just do some more sweeps. Where was any kind of an end around, like a reverse or something that would throw them off? They were doing jet sweeps. Usually when Kyle runs a lot of jet sweeps, it sets up a bigger play. He never tried it. He never tried to do an end around or a fake jet sweep and a play action. There was nothing innovative. It was just plain vanilla all day. And the times he opened it up were the biggest plays. Trey hit we've heard about Trey's arm, right? He can throw the 20-plus yard pass. He hit 2 of them. He hit the one to McLeod, and then he hit the one to, was it Ayuk?
Yep.
Yeah. Why do we stop that? That's what's successful. That's what Trey Lance can do. Otherwise, just put Jimmy in there because you're running the same offense.
Yeah, well, it's going to take looking at the all 22, I guess. I mean, there's a chance that the defense. They were keying in on the run. I mean, because we all agree the Niners are, they're probably the best rushing team in the NFL. Usually, year in and year out.
I don't know.
And they've won playoff games where they just dominate on the ground. And the thing is, last year they were the best team in the league in red zone, in converting in the red zone.
I think you stifle.
It's just going to take some. It's going to take some patience.
It is going to take. Time,
that's the bottom line. It's going to take patience.
Bad weather.
Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the game right now. Yeah. Would you agree?
Oh yes. I got.
Go look at Josh Allen. Go look at Josh Allen's first 5 or 6 games. Yeah. He's the best quarterback going right now.
Yeah, and I think Trey's going to get better.
Look at his first 5 or 6 games.
I know, but this is what I've always been saying is like
that's what we're talking about.
Like we had Dieter on, he said Trey Lance may win MVP this year, and it's like people are entertaining that. It's like okay, he could become Josh Allen. I still think he's going to be the best player in the draft class, but I think it's going to be more like 3 or 4 years down the line. And this is the Super Bowl.
I do too. I actually think that it is going to be. That's why I was not, I was not anti. Oh my God, what are they doing when they brought back Garoppolo? Because I think the kid's going to get it done, but it doesn't mean it's going to be this year. Doesn't mean it's going to be this month.
Trey at all.
It's going to take some time. Josh Allen is the best in the game right now, but it's year 3. Our 49er fans going to give Trey Lance 3 weeks, let alone 3 years.
Well, the problem is that last year everyone was acting like Jimmy was, unplayable on Twitter, and people on the radio talking about how horrible he is and put in Trey. Oh, Trey would have won that game. Oh, Trey would have won that game too. And it's built up this like giant straw man of Trey Lance being this. He's completely nobody has seen.
Well, forget the people on the radio, right? The head coach and the general manager, basically said, "Hey, you know what? We don't think Jimmy's good enough. We're going with somebody else." And they brought in Trey Lance, and they're the ones who did it. Don't blame the people talking about the people who did it. Blame the people who did it. Don't throw out the fans, because the fans don't put them in there and they don't make the decisions. So don't blame the fans. If you don't like the pick, blame Lynch. Blame Shanahan, but don't say, "Oh, the fans." Who cares about the fans?
I'm not saying the fans. I'm saying like the media, like the people.
Who cares about the media?
I'm saying the media.
It doesn't matter. The Niner people, though, the people who know football, supposedly, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, they told you that they don't believe in Jimmy Garoppolo. So who cares what I say or Cam Inman says or what some guy in the 9th row says? The general manager and the head coach told you that Jimmy's not good enough and that they need to do something better. So they went and got a player who they think's got more upside potential. And now it's going to, whether he gets there or not, it doesn't happen in a day. It just doesn't.
Yeah,
it really just doesn't.
It's going to take a while. But Larry, don't you think if they think Jimmy's not the guy, he's not capable, don't you run your offense a little bit more innovative with taking more chances down the field if you got Trey in there versus running the same offense that you had Jimmy doing?
Well, no, I mean, I think on paper you would try to run the ball more, right? So I think on paper they did try to run the ball more. There was a lot. They went with bigger backs, more linemen, more tight ends.
Right.
I mean, it's been clear as day for weeks that they plan on running it, and maybe it's a 60-40 run pass split. So I think that's what they came out with today. But ultimately, it burned them because the storm arrived at the end of the third quarter, and right as the storm arrived, they fell behind on the scoreboard. And then all of a sudden, it's time to pass, and you couldn't pass at all.
And I don't think
I think it would
have been tough for any QB in the league in that weather. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers or Mahomes or Allen, I think they would have struggled to throw the ball. That is worse. It is harder to throw the ball in that weather than the snow because, get the word out, Dan. The water and just the the field wasn't draining at all. It was just like it
was awful.
Pool.
That was the worst looking field I've seen in the NFL. I mean, really. I mean, look at the Niner field and how how it handled the rain last year in that ridiculous monsoon against the Colts. The field drained today. It was like standing water everywhere you look. I mean, Trey Lance's issues are accuracy for sure, and it's going to take time. But are people going to give him that time, or is it just going to be this, just everybody's just going to be, Jimmy should have gone to Jimmy, because that's the thing. This kid's going to take time. It's going to take time. Are you willing to invest the time?
I think it just comes down to the locker room, because the locker room thinks the whole training camp, everyone says, their expectations are a Super Bowl. And if Trey's not getting it done, then it becomes a locker room thing. And, I do believe that they think that they could win with Jimmy. I think the thing with Jimmy is he doesn't stay healthy. So how can you possibly invest in your future with a guy that doesn't stay healthy? That's why I was not opposed to the Mac Jones pick, because it's kind of like, all right, maybe you have a slightly worse Jimmy who's kind of ready to go, but he has no injury history.
He got hurt today. I don't know if you saw that, but Mac Jones got hurt today.
Hurt his back, yeah.
My bigger thing on this thing, though, is that the Bears have nothing on offense. They have no receivers. They have, and at times Mooney, when I Mooney Award, Charvarius, who wants to be called Mooney Ward, he looked dominant at times in the first half, and you saw some glimpses of, wow, look at this, a true number one corner. But then the second half, what happened to the Niner defense in the second half of this game? Why could they not stop the run? Why could they not put any pressure on Fields to save his life? How come they played with no poise at all? I mean, you hand a team that has no offense, a first down, 13-yard penalties and stuff like that, and you give a first down to a team that can't move it at all. It's hard to win. It's like it's like beating somebody up twice or three times. It's hard to do. Eventually, to me, I'm much more if I was sitting there and you had Trey Lance on the right and I had DeMeco Ryans on the left, I would save much more of my anger for DeMeco Ryans than for Trey Lance.
Yeah, to me, it looked like on defense, what the Bears were trying to get the Niners to do was have them, when they rushed, try to collapse in the pocket and then let Fields just kind of run to the outside. No one was there. Because if you look at the rush, they didn't come from the outside. They all came toward the center, and they just came pouring in the middle. And then once Fields just eluded that to the outside, it was almost like they planned that because, he can move. He can move in the pocket. He's not as quick like Kyler Murray, but he definitely is a running quarterback at Ohio State. And that's what was giving him the big plays. And they were breaking down in the defense. Every big play came when Fields was scrambling out of the pocket, and
I'll tell you the other thing I
Niners
really
didn't
didn't like.
contain. They didn't contain on the edges.
Oh yeah, I mean Drake Jackson one time lost contain on him, and he just rumbled. The thing that I didn't like about today's game more than anything is once again we got back to the Kyle Shanahan Arizona Cardinal game plan from last year, where snap it to Trey and then like he's Ronnie Brown, and it's 10 years ago, and he's the Wildcat quarterback, and he's just a battering ram, and you're just going to run him between the tackles. That was like, that's annoying. What risk reward, Kyle? Seriously, it's week 1. He's your franchise quarterback, and you're running him with no lead blockers, with nothing. And he's taking hits on his throwing shoulder, and he's getting driven into the turf. And what are you doing? What are you doing? As far as if Trey were more advanced and more seasoned, it would be more valuable than he is. But he's still your franchise quarterback, and you're running him without any lead blockers, and he's not scrambling. You're running him between the tackles, having him lower his head like a battering ram. That is so stupid. I can't even tell you. What's the upside of running Trey Lance, having him bury his head and buck into the line like he's Larry Zonka and it's 1974? What's the upside? I don't get it. I'm not. Yeah. So what? He gets the first down, and what if he breaks his clavicle? What if until Jimmy said, I want to come back and play for you, you were one Lance hit away from Nate Sudfeld time. Yeah. And you're running him like a power back with no lead blocker on a designed run. Last year in that Arizona game, there were 16 times the quarterback ran. 9 times, I think, were designed. 7 were scrambles. On the 7 scrambles, he averaged like 13 yards a scramble and took a hit on like a third of them. On the designed runs, he averaged 3.2 yards a carry and took a hit on every single one of them. They're not even deceptive runs. They're like, here it is, try to stop it. He's not Earl Campbell. Why are you running him like that? Why would you run your starting quarterback without a lead blocker through the middle of your line in the middle of a game to gain 4 yards and expose him to hits on his throwing shoulder? If that's the plan, just quit right now. I mean, seriously, if that is Kyle's plan, just quit, because that ain't going to work. That is not going to work. And you're going to get your quarterback hurt. So now you got Garoppolo, but guess what? You keep running Trey Lance that way, there are going to be people that start to call you out as you gave him up as a sacrificial lamb, because that's putting your quarterback in harm's way for no real upside. And don't tell me, well, he's a big, strong kid and it's football, he can do it. He can do it till he can't do it. And we'll see if he emerges tomorrow from this game healthy or hurt. Because if you remember, in that Arizona game, he was healthy on Monday morning until about 11 o'clock on Monday morning. They said, oh, yeah, by the way, he's hurt. Yep. And he's out for the next month. So I didn't get it then, and I'm not getting it now. So I don't understand the desire to run Trey on design quarterback runs between the tackles. It would be one thing if it was like the Niners Ravens, the Super Bowl, right? It's the Super Bowl. John Elway got spun around in the Super Bowl and took a crazy hit on his throwing shoulder. Why? Because it was the freaking Super Bowl, and he had to get those yards. This wasn't the freaking Super Bowl. So why are you running your quarterback between the tackles with no lead blockers and allowing him to take hits like that? I don't get it. I don't understand the risk reward there.
Yeah. So we got to wrap up in.
Oh my goodness!
What?
The Giants scored with a minute to go and went for 2, and now leading the Titans 21-20. They went for 2. They went for 2. No, I'm watching. I picked the Titans in my Survivor League. I
have the Titans too.
In the Survivor League?
Yes, in the Survivor pool.
Oh, gosh.
It was 20. It was
13.
I think it was 20-7. Or was that or no,
it was 13. It was 13 nothing, and then it got to 13-13. And then the Titans went up 20-13, and the Giants just scored from second and goal from the 1 and went for 2. How's that for balls, huh?
Now they're up 21-20.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
minute 6. So I need the Titans to just come down and score a field goal, or my Survivor League experience is over week 1.
Oh no,
I am too. I'm done as well with you if the Titans lose that game.
Oh goodness.
Man,
so guys, we got to wrap up because they're about to fire up another live stream. But this was fun. The frustration's out. It's all part of it. It's week 1. As Aaron Rodgers would say, relax.
Yeah. I will say this. I expect the 49ers at home next week, better weather, hopefully, home crowd, probably temperatures in the 80s, sunshine. I expect a whole different performance. I expect them to open up the offense a little bit more, see some more throwing, and, more like Larry said, maybe a 60-40, 55-45 run pass ratio, but some more big plays. I don't want to see this dump. You got a guy that has got a cannon, and you have some receivers that, got speed and separation. Ayuk, Ray McLeod, maybe Danny Gray's active next week for the deep threat, but they got to do something. Otherwise, if they're just going to run this same type of offense and be conservative, you're going to keep other teams in the game, and then anything can happen, as you saw today.
Yeah. That was really it. They let the Bears hang around. The Debo turnover hurt badly.
Yep.
And the 49er defense is kind of a bully defense. Let's be honest. They like to get a lead, and then here comes all their pass rush. But if you make them defend the run for 4 quarters, I think you saw that their run D is not impenetrable. And unfortunately, we got a good look at it. So
Proctor says why, and then Anonymous says, what did Dan do? Oh, it's nobody's fault. It's just a weird technicality with YouTube, but yeah, it's hopefully not gonna happen again.
Yeah, we're in the suspended list for a week on YouTube because of an ad that ran on our channel. So unfortunately,
it was my picture. It was my picture.
Yeah, and it wasn't Danny's ad. So still give him a call at Secure Money. No, but it was an ad on our channel, and so we are in the penalty box. We're using the Gridiron channel for today, and we'll have to do that for the next few days. But we shall return.
We shall return.
We will be victorious.
And maybe we'll even make I floated the idea of maybe a backup channel just in case. So, if we want to get into some more shenanigans, we don't want to have to put poor Gridiron through.
Maybe the Dan Coccimiglio channel.
Yeah,
there we go.
Wait a second, Danny's muted me. Oh no.
There we go. Payback time.
All right, fellas. Good bickering. We'll do it again.
Okie doke.